Tyler here once again. So I got back from my trip to Memphis, and wow! First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody that I met, everybody that was there. Ben, Owen, Jessica, Owen, thank you for inviting me into your home to learn everything that I did, and to learn everything that I think is the right track forward for helping others out. So one of the major things I learned was we can't rely on governments. We can't rely on anything other than really people to see change get done. It's a very unique situation that's going on in Memphis, and Memphis is a very dangerous place. Not one that you could just walk into and be safe, or just off the street go out. You need to be with somebody that has credit to get into the areas, and Ben has that. So does Jessica. I met some amazing people. I met some people that were trafficked. I met some people that just lived life on their own since they were 12. Met people who were mistreated since they were kids. Then I met people that had great upbringings, but still ended up getting trafficked. And then I saw exactly what there is out there in the streets, where place where don't remember seeing any cops patrol, unless there was a crime. Cameras on every street, but there's still shootings nightly, and just an area that overall needs help. And one thing that really surprised me, which I'm not thinking about, I don't really know why it surprised me. This is the same place that I saw God working more than I've ever seen it. And it's working through organizations like We Fight Monsters, Flanders Field, all of them. It's working through them and spreading. It's interesting because in the Great Commission, Jesus tells us to go forth and multiply and make disciples of all nations. Well, this is kind of what's happening, because you see these organizations go in and help people, get them out of situations, help them through a drug court, help them through being trafficked, all these other things. And many times, the ones who make it through, the ones who get through, if you were to ask them what they're going to do next, they would simply tell you that they're going to stay in the organization and help out their community. I met some neat people in the community, and these places need it, I think, really more than anything. I mean, when you can be walking down somewhere and have a casual conversation with somebody about what they do to the bodies of people that have overdosed, so that way that they don't get in trouble, is very unique. And it's not something that one would imagine the civilian population would really have to deal with. But these people deal with this on a constant, regular basis. I talked to a judge there who created the drug court. I think his name was Judge Dwyer, created it in 1984. And he was talking about how he started this simply because he kept seeing the same people coming back to court. And when I really kind of absorbed that and thought about it, it makes absolute sense. You're sending people to court, and then to jail, and when they get out, they're either going to have less than before they went in, or they're going to have what they had when in, which changes nothing of the scenario. So they're coming back to the environment they were in, which is going to lead them back into the roles that they played in that environment, with no real reason to change. So I think what helps quite a bit, and is going on, is to give people an education, treat these people, give them a job, teach them how to run a job, so that way they can start their own job. But we're not talking like they have to go to a 4-6 year education, nothing, just a trade, anything. That's why I picked music, because music instrument or equipment, or composing, stuff like that, it takes your mind away from where it could be going. And we all know idle hands make is devil's work. So um, you just try and get rid of that. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily for any type of um, religious background or anything of that nature. At the end of the day, I think we as people all need to work together to get this done. It just so happens that I do consider myself to be a disciple and I do try to multiply. But at the end of the day, I'm going to love that person no matter what. And I'm going to try to do everything I can to help that person through anything. And it was a real eye opening experience. I had seen evil before, so I kind of had a concept in my mind of it. And seeing worse in the United States is just so eye opening, causes such an impression on you. And it's like I told, I believe it was Ben or somebody else, you know, in my job, I've been in some pretty hairy situations that you could worry about quite a bit. But this wasn't every day of my life. Um, and there it is every day of your life. Heck, you got one of the most hazardous things is kids before they're even teenagers. We're talking like 12 years old. And the reason they're the most hazardous because they're like a wild card. And they're out stealing cars from anybody. And eventually they're going to jack a car from the wrong person, or they're going to kill somebody. And then they're going to have to pay for that crime. So it's just such a dynamic. You have people that have been in the pimping game for a long time. You have prostitutes that have been in there for a long time. You have drug dealers. Just all this dynamic. You have people helping people, all in the same little environment through this, what I like to call its own government. The rules, there's different rules that apply in these areas, and you got to know how to navigate those. Luckily, there's people that do know how to navigate those, and they're allowed to travel throughout. And so, seeing this, you see things that you'd like to try, but mainly you see where the action needs to be, where the focus needs to be, and where God's working the most. I was able to give a guy a guitar that had served a pretty lengthy sentence in prison, and he's been a rock star in the program he's in. And I gave him this guitar, and he, from me and the company the nonprofit I've started, and he thanked God more than anybody, and that says a lot. Of course, yes, he said thank you to me, and but I was most impressed with the fact that he thanked God for everything that's just been happening to him. His guitar had actually broke that morning, and was replaced with a brand new one by the end of the day. And you can just feel the joy, feel the excitement, feel the love. These people are people that will tell you they love you well before anything. And you could at first be like, well, man, that's kind of weird. But then you think about, well, we're called to love everyone. And so all that stuff is just piled right into these small, most dangerous sections of the country. And then you have people, like I said earlier, being trafficked. You hear their stories, and I haven't seen the movies yet, but I heard that it does show some part of it. But some of the stories I heard, and from places I've traveled, people I've seen, I thought I could conceptualize a lot. But these stories I would hear, even right now, even though I've seen and heard people talk about it, I can't possibly fully understand how a human being would do what they're doing to these people. We're talking husbands, we're talking parents, fathers, stepfathers, and they're all, well, not all, some starts young. Some people grow up perfectly fine in a great home, but there's something that they're able to exploit and get into and turn these people. And it's not one of those things of, Oh, well, they wanted to do it. I mean, come on, let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, there's probably some people that wanted to get into sex work, but a vast majority have no choice. It's also not what they would say in junior high. Hey, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a prostitute. Don't think I've heard that one. So we need to think of this in real terms. And it's the same with people that are addicted to drugs. Yeah, the first time, okay, yes, you could say they wanted to do it. But that doesn't mean the times after that they wanted to. It could be one time and then you're addicted. And people need to realize that when we're walking by people on the streets that are passed out on the ground or are homeless or whatever the circumstance is, if your first thought is, well, they deserve this. This is what they, wanted. This happened because of the choices they made. That's fine. You can think that. But that needs to be followed with how can I help this person? Because addiction is not a crime like stealing a car. It's not just a crime of opportunity. It's a substance change in your brain that makes you need this, and it gets to the point where you need it so much that you're willing to commit crimes. Or a lot of people are committing crimes for survival. It's just very interesting dynamic. But what I would like to bring awareness to is just don't think that these individuals is what they are. They're people want to be addicted to something. I don't know many people that want something to control their lives. It's counterproductive, and it's kind of against instinct. And so throughout this time, I would like for people, if they have questions, ask me. I am by no means an expert now in this area. Like I said, there's so many things that I just can't conceive of how that would work or how somebody would do that to somebody else. And it's out there. So what I'm trying to say is we know the way forward. Christians, get off your butts and stop acting like you're above these people, because that's not the case. And get involved. If like I said, not everybody should go down there to an environment like this, but help out the organizations that do and do it the right way. One common complaint I did hear was people just going up to people like, well, don't just, oh, I'm going to pray for you if you become a Christian. We'll do we'll do this. Okay. One, you don't know where they are with God, and two, you don't know what other people have affected them, and more times than not, they feel like a lot of Christians just think down on them, like they're below people, and that comes from something. That didn't just start. So you got to watch how you approach it. Think about Jesus. Honestly, think about him. If he was walking, this is where he would be walking today, where he would be talking to people. So think about how that would go. If you were with him, oh, I don't want to talk to that person. Well, guess what? He would talk to him. So that's the way it should be. And this is how we make the world a better place. If you don't want to go into areas like that, hey, don't. That's perfectly fine. Like I said, they're not for everybody. But help those that are going to, or help those that are willing to get in there and pull people out. Help them. I have crossed to bear. I could use a lot of help because I'm wanting to build facilities. You got We Fight Monsters with Jessica Owen, and you got Flanders Field with Ben Owen. Those two are amazing people. And I actually envision, if Jesus was walking through that area, Ben would have been plucked as a disciple. I know this for a fact. I have no doubt in my mind. And so would his wife. So anyway, help out. If you have questions, hit me up on anything. I don't care. My webpage, that's a great place to go. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing a change and bringing light on this issue that we have in the United States. That people think they understand, but trust me, you could have no possible understanding. I've seen it firsthand. Some of it I still can't conceptualize. But anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you learned something. I'm going to have more to post, I promise. This is a great learning experience for me, and I am truly blessed that I got to go down and see something like this. Even though sometimes it was like, oh boy, here we go. It was an absolutely amazing experience. And I'd like to thank you to everybody that was there. Dan from Georgia, you were there. It was great meeting you as well. Kirsten, Kristen, Jade, Trey, Josh, what's it, Bob? It's, golly, I can't remember his name, another great guy. And of course, Ben and Jessica, and Steve the podcaster, and Andrew the filmer. Not for each other, they're separate, but both great guys. And Steve's podcast, Fire Forged Leader is amazing. You need to check it out, especially his most recent podcast. He gets real and he gets to the point, and it's pretty awesome. You're not going to spend 3 hours on it. All right. Well, anybody, take care. Love you guys. Love all of you. And let's get this thing running. All right.